Well, I always kind of knew I was going to be a teacher ever since I was just little. My first grade teacher who taught me how to read, was the delight of my life back then. And so that probably ever since I was 6 years old, I knew I was going to be a teacher. Of course, that didn't happen for quite a while. I got married young, and there wasn't the money to finish college education, and so there was a large hiatus there before I got back into the college scene, and that happened when my daughter was in college. Then I got bit by the bug that I needed to finish something I had started. And so when I went back into teaching, but IPFW had started their special education minor at that same time. And I had a son that was identified with ADHD, who was at Holy Cross Lutheran School, and I was working as a teacher assistant at Forest Park at that time, so I was in FWCS system. And they were training the paras, and I went to a training session on ADHD, and because we had a student in our classroom that had ADHD, and I wanted to know more about it. And as I'm sitting there listening to the presenters, I'm going like, this is my son they're talking about, And so I requested an evaluation for him, and FWCS was the school system that was taking care of the Lutheran schools at that time. So they came out and did the evaluation, and they told me he didn't qualify for services, but yes, he had ADHD, and he didn't qualify because of what I was doing to help him, and I should keep up the good work. And so when he was finishing high school is when I went back to college, and when I saw that they had the minor in special ed, I go, why not? I was told I was good at this job, so I went ahead and added the minor onto the list of things I was doing at the time, and that got me into special education. So here I am. My normal day is I teach math, and so I'm involved in grade 7 and grade 8 direct math classes, which then take 4 hours because they're both 2-hour blocks. So my first is grade 8, first period and second period. And then I have planned, and then I co-teach an 8th grade class, 4th period. And I'm in that classroom for that second hour. So the instruction has been given the previous hour, and I'm in there for work time. And then lunch. And then I come from lunch and I have my 7th graders for the 6th and 7th period. And then I'm back in another 8th grade class for the second hour, for that last hour of the day. Yeah, it's the kids, because the ones that come to us here tend to have been beaten down by life a bit. And I feel like if I can help them gain some confidence in their skills with education, then I'm doing my job. It's pushing them into their future. So I love figuring out where they're at on their learning and taking what they know and then pushing them forward so that they gain that confidence that, oh, it's not really something new. I already knew a little bit about this. There's background knowledge there that they're just not aware of. And I like taking that background knowledge and then building the scaffolding up on top of that for them. So we hear a lot here in this building, like, this is just doing too much. The kids will say that often to us. But I love it when I hear, oh, I got this now. That they have taken it, they've owned it, and they're confident that they can go on and complete whatever the task is on their own. So that's what I strive to see. That's my favorite thing to see happen. The main things that I do is just have that compliance checklist nearby when I'm creating IEPs or doing any of the paperwork too, so that I can go back and forth and just check to make sure that I've hit every box. And so, I figure the compliance checklists have been put together for us for a reason, and I just use them while I'm creating IEPs. Well, being around now, this is my 15th year at Kekionga. I've seen teachers do it different ways. For me, I tend to be a little old school. All my kids have their own manila folder yet, and I have the parent's name and number on the outside of that folder. So when I contact parents, I document on the outside of the folder. And then when I go into the Indiana IEP, I update it. So I don't open up the Indiana IEP every single time I call a parent. I just keep track. In working with difficult parents, I always try to put myself in their shoes. There's a reason that they tend to get upset, and I try to make sure I understand that viewpoint as I'm speaking to them. And then I always make sure that I start out with positives, because they're usually calling or hearing from the school because something has happened. And they need to know that there's really good qualities about their student too, and that needs to be highlighted. And I think if they get the feeling that you're on their side, that you care about what's going on in their child's life too, then you can bring that difficulty level down a few notches and actually create a working relationship with them.